together. Why don't you introduce yourself, Mark, and kind of take it from there?
Yeah, my name is Marc. I'm 40 years old. I have a couple of kids. and yeah, the last 10 years I was working more in social media. I've said it before, we've built YouTube channels with about 8 million followers on like mental health and education. But in the last 2-3 years, gotten more and more into crypto. And we've built a decentralized crypto ratings platform in the last 1.5 years, which has gotten quite some traction. And now I'm here to build a part of that platform as the Forge, as a crowdfunding platform that will basically, because there's so many scams and so many rug pulls in crypto, right, to find a better way how we can raise money for projects that attracts better projects, that helps them be better, and that protects the people who fund these projects from scams and rug pulls. Is that good enough, the introduction? Or?
That's really good. It's a good introduction for yourself. And also, we may not get as deep into your backstory, but if you guys check out Lit, My Life is Awesome, he also has an awesome interview that introduces Mark and his background very well. So feel free to check that one out if you want to dig deeper into Mark and how this all got started. But yeah, the Forge is seeking to solve several problems, right? And if you actually came with some goodies, some giveaways, so make sure you stay to the end of the stream.
I can actually to make it more tasty. I can actually quickly show that. So we're gonna give away 2 NFTs, right?
Okay, cool.
And if you want, I can quickly show our little intro video to these NFTs too.
That'd be great.
Okay, let me share
that up here and make sure I got the sound on, hopefully, and mute mine so I don't echo it.
I need to, how do you share your screen on here? Present, there we go, cool. Share screen. So I'm just trying to figure this out. All right. Now people are actually gonna see the StreamYard. Let me put this away for a second. And
tell me when you're ready to put it up there and I'll make sure I got the sound on for you.
Okay. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, there we go. So these are our cool NFTs. All right, did you guys see that?
Yeah, that was really cool. I don't know if they heard it or not because I just muted my mic, but it should be sharing the sound as well.
Mark, can you talk a little bit about that NFT artist?
Yeah, let me show you here a couple of really cool pictures. So he's really a world-renowned artist. You can see him here. And he's from Thailand. And he's one of the top break dancers in Thailand as well. So here you see his art covering the entire SkyTrain. And him then dancing in there. So he's really very popular. This is his art over a building wall in Berlin. He's also made very, very successful NFTs a couple years ago on Ethereum. And then you see here a whole car covered in his art. So he's very, very popular artist. And here I can, maybe if I open this, I can just show you. This is just a little bit of a random selection of the NFTs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they're just very cool. So very cool stuff. And as we'll discuss a little bit later in the video here, the NFTs, these are functional NFTs that will play a very important role in the Forge, in the crowdfunding platform that we're building. These will allow you to vote on very important things and kind of banning people that, bad actors and things like that. But as a reward, these NFTs will actually get a share of all the tokens that come through the platform. So they're very cool, by very cool artists, and they're very important to keep the ecosystem safe, and they get very, very cool rewards. So
So it's not just a JPEG or art. It serves as a voting function and as I wouldn't say a yield collector, but also obviously something that's eligible for rewards in the future.
Exactly. Yes, and should just continue giving you rewards as long as the forge is active.
As long as the forge stays burning hot, right?
Exactly. Yes, which we will make sure together that that's the case, right? So.
Right. Now the forge, obviously, when you're forging in metal, you're burning out the impurities, right? You're getting rid of the stuff you don't want in the metal. And there's a lot in crypto that's unsavory, shall we say, to say the least. We have a lot of bad actors, a lot of people who intentionally rug pull or will launch a project with no intention of actually finishing the project. And usually there's no recourse. Usually they just take off with people's, Ethereum or Pulse or whatever they're getting for their sacrifice phase or for their fundraising phase. How did you guys want to solve that with your system?
So first of all, it's a decentralized system. There's no central entity that picks which projects get funded, like a regular launch pad or something like that. That's the first important mechanism. And it's not really one entity, it's a network of entities that work together. The first important part of that is a decentralized due diligence system that's provided by Curator, the platform we've built now for a couple of years. And that allows the entire community to review the projects before so right now a project can come and do a sacrifice, or they can do even if they look for donations or something, like whatever the fundraising method is, they can come and ask for money. And people might say something about it in Twitter, but things get lost, right? There's no real due diligence of the project. So in the Forge, these projects can apply, and in the due diligence network, the entire community can review the project and leave their ratings and reviews about it. And when it's done with that, then it can go to the next part, which will be done by HexPulse Info, which is a smart contract where the donations or sacrifice or investments will go. If it's a security token, then it can be an investment as well, right? That can go into that smart contract instead of to the project directly. And then the funds will only be released to the project based on achieving certain milestones. The project will have to actually punch it into a smart contract at what dates it has to achieve milestones. And if it achieves it by that date, then the funds get released. Otherwise, actually these NFTs that we just mentioned can vote to block the funds and eventually return them if the project isn't active. And that's the third entity in this network, is these NFTs, which is a decentralized governance of this entire ecosystem, which is going to be a mix of giveaways to very influential people in the ecosystem, which is more like your Supreme Court, who just gets power over all this. But then there's also financial incentives, people who buy these NFTs to make a return, basically. And therefore, that incentive is important because then they are incentivized to make sure that the entire network is very healthy. So that is a broad overview of it. But unless you have any questions, I can actually give a little screen share of how the platform looks and how all of these different parts play.
Yeah, let's add that. And I'm gonna repeat, try to summarize what you said to see if I got it correct. Okay. Yeah. So you've got three parts. You've got the analysts, right?
Yes.
And then you've got the escrow people that deal with what was it, Pulse?
HexPulse Info. So it's a Pulse website that has always listed all the sacrifice information.
Okay. And then you've got the council on top of that, correct?
Yes, exactly.
And so each one of those three keep each other in check.
Yes, exactly. And on top of that, it is an open network, so other entities can actually come and plug into this. So I've been talking to some people who might want to have an escrow smart contract for founders, basically. So they could go lock up their founder tokens and then decide when they get released over time, right? So that is something we're in discussion now that we might actually plug in, which is, I don't want to mention who it is yet because we didn't agree yet, right? But it's one example of how other people can plug in and improve the network by collaboration. So I also, we also want to invite here anyone who has their own ideas to come in and add to this network.
Yeah, Marc is really open to collaboration, trying to get people from the Pulse Chain community to come into this, and especially our most influential people, our brightest minds and stuff. This is who we want here. So I definitely encourage the audience and anyone that's watching that is an influencer that wants to get in touch with an influencer to come here and learn about this and maybe get in touch and see what they can provide and any ideas that they have, because this is meant to be a decentralized community project.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I think about the places people go for information, because not everyone's got the time and effort to dig into these projects as much as they'd like. So they watch YouTube, people like myself or others who summarize projects and kind of get into them. But a lot of the websites out there are very biased and they're very bribe and money driven, to where if you have money, then you're going to get talked about, you're going to get exposure, you're going to get favorable reviews, even on the coin ranking sites. Those are all fairly rigged, we'll say. So it would be great to put all that energy into this decentralized platform where you can get honest information. Right.
I saw this visual on Telegram, Trayvon shared, where it was showing basically like a chain of information, and it was a meme, and the dude was just pooping in the dude's mouth beneath him, right? And the guy on the bottom was getting the worst deal of it all. And I think what a big issue is that the people where they look to go for information is that last spot in the chain. They're looking like on Twitter. They're looking for somebody that has already seen this, and now an influencer has been contacted and they're spreading the information. So where they're trying to get the value, they're at the bottom of the value chain. And what I think Curator can do is provide information that's at the top of the value chain, so that you're getting the best information first from the people that are reviewing the project involved and the project founders themselves. So you see the alpha, and all the information is what's going to, I think, attract people here, even maybe more so than the way that this is set up, because in my opinion, what I see going forward, data is the most valuable asset in our world. And this type of data is going to be the best data and the most up to date and get from the brightest minds, ideally. So this data is going to be very valuable. And I think outside of everything else, that's a huge value proposition for this platform.
Yeah, let me maybe show the platform now and explain how difficult it would be for a project to actually bribe anyone coming through this.
Before that, let's give away the rules for the giveaway, the NFT giveaway.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
So what do you want people to do to be eligible for the NFT giveaway? And you're giving away two?
Two, yes.
Awesome.
So watch this video till the end. Leave a comment in this video, right, in the YouTube video, and then come to our Telegram group, the Curator Telegram group, and join it, and then ask a question there. So in the next stream, we will then pick a winner, two winners who ask the best questions, and announce them in the next stream here.
Awesome.
That's some high quality marketing right there, Marc. Tell them a little bit about your background in YouTube. You know how to do YouTube. Tell them a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I started my other company in 2013, also with my co-founder and developer in Curator and The Forge. And it was a video production platform where we created a decentralized animation platform, basically, where people could collaborate to create animations. And around 2015 or so, we started using that to create mental health content on YouTube. And it started to get very popular. It was called Minute Videos. It's still there. You guys can check it out. And it got very popular, and the people started sending us their own personal stories We've gotten over 40,000 stories submitted from people all around the world, and then we animated the best ones and then put them out there, and we've got millions of views every day. And yeah, it grew very fast. We went into many countries, translated the videos into many languages, and gotten about 8 million subscribers in total and about 2 billion organic views. I've also started another YouTube channel called Sprout School, which also has about 1.5 million subscribers. And that's all about educational content, kind of teaching teachers how to teach. Yeah, so that was a big, again, you guys can go check out Lit's video where there's much more detail about all of this, but that's where I learned a lot about how algorithms work, and yeah, basically how to do marketing organically through the algorithms. And maybe later about here, I can also show you guys a little bit how the traffic is starting to pick up on Curator and so forth as well.
Awesome. And before you show that, just give a shout out to people in chat. We have I have no idea what that name is, but they're saying let's go.
That's actually a Thai name, so I don't know. Yeah.
Well, it's good to have you either way.
I cannot read this. I can almost read it. My Thai is not that great, but it's a Thai name.
That's a Thai name.
Yeah, it's a Thai
name. Moondog spreading love and light. Hookers and Cocaine is in the house. He has the Hookers and Cocaine coin, and nice. I think he's also over there in the East, in Asia. And he says Pulse is pumping hard. I was actually trying to pull that up for a second, but it's not pulling up the Pulse die pair for me for some reason to get the biggest volume here, or the biggest liquidity. So weird. Anyways, yeah, go ahead and share that.
How it works.
That platform or the diagram.
Yes, the platform. I'm just going to show the actual platform.
Okay.
So people can see. So again, this all started with Curator, which we launched about a year ago. The kind of live beta, and we've gotten hundreds of launchpad, pre-launch projects that came through us. So this is basically the back end for the Forge. When projects come and apply, they will get into this micro review section. And you can see here 4 projects in here right now. And you can see that they've got like 2 out of 5, 3 out of 5 kind of reviews and a rating. So if a new project will come, it will apply here. And only if it gets a certain rating after 5 out of 5 reviews, then it will pop into the in-depth reviews, where we then do reviews on, tokenomics, team, and various different categories like this. So this micro review section is like the filter, and then the in-depth review section is kind of the incubation and mentoring place where it usually takes a month or 2 for the projects to get all this feedback and improve on it and stuff like that. So this is kind of the back end. You can see down here, like that we've reviewed already many projects. And therefore we really kind of optimize this process a lot already. Now I can go to an example project here, which was one of the first that went through this entire process. It's called Belief. It's like a tokenized healthcare app. And ultimately, this took 2-3 months to review this project. I think it has how many reviews? In total, maybe 20, 25 reviews. And you can see here the top review is the one that was most upvoted. And this is how a review would usually look. And you see this is an idea review. And then this here is a tokenomics review, a community, all the different categories. And they all get support from different people. What's very interesting here is that you can go to the versions. And you can see that this analyst has edited this review several times. Right? So we've had AMAs in between where the project came in and talked to the analysts, and they've talked to each other here also in the comments. You see there's a lot of, this is actually the founder. He's been back and forth a lot with the people explaining stuff. And that's how these reviews developed over time. Now, to explain a little bit how it's so hard to bribe someone, as you can see, there's many people who wrote reviews. So there's one guy, another guy, another guy, another guy. So a project would have to come in and bribe several analysts to give it a good rating and a good review, because otherwise you might just have one that's good and everything else is still bad, right? So they have to bribe many. But now the other thing is these super upvotes. Super upvotes, when the Forge launches, you will have people need to stake tokens in order to get super upvotes. You can see down here I have 2 left, right? You get several per week, depending on how many tokens you stake. And this is generally done by investors or donors. So they lock tokens, which gives them bigger allocations in the projects that come through, and it gives them these super upvotes. So they have an incentive to get into good projects, and they will also verify these reviews by giving it super upvotes. So the project will have to bribe these guys as well to give it these super upvotes, to have a good review be written and then be voted to the top to have any kind of influence. So that's a lot of bribing that needs to be done. But now let's say they've done that, they've taken the money, they bribed several analysts and bribed investors and donors to upvote this stuff. This is where the NFT holders come in. If the NFT holders see this, they can actually come in and vote saying, hey, you know what? This is a shitty project. And these guys have like upvoted and reviewed it really well. We're going to slash them and we're going to ban them. So all the tokens that were locked to get these super upvotes and to write reviews, they'll get slashed, and those people will actually be kicked off the platform. So the project would then, on top of that, have to bribe all of these NFT holders to not come and slash these people. And even if all that happens, then they would start the fundraising in the smart contract. And then let's say it gets funded with, $100,000 or whatever the raise is. But now, if they don't deliver on their promises, then a lot of those funds will be frozen and returned. So it's really, really, really hard for a project to pull all of that off and still make any money at the end.
A point you brought up too that you don't really focus on a lot, but that's huge for contributing to vet all this, is the edit history of them making changes to the reviews and stuff. You could see if someone put say a 3-star review, but then all of a sudden someone incentivized them or paid them and the tone completely changed or something, you would have a history to be able to see. So you could be able to identify those kind of bribes as well. So you'd have to go through a lot in order, and really highly calculated and targeted. And then even if you were able to bribe all the way through this, there's still people at the end of the way that can vet it and be like, well, this is still bad. So you'd have to get through all of these chains, and that's just to get approved. That's not even to get anything but just access to a portion of your money. So I love how much it would inhibit scammers from coming into this and taking money. This is going to be for legit big projects, in my opinion.
Yeah, so fully agree with all of this, and I think an important part here is the invest in a regular launchpad. People usually need to lock up tokens, and the more tokens they lock up, the bigger the allocations they can get in the projects that come through, right? So these are people that put money on the line, they lock that up, they have an interest to invest or sacrifice or donate to good projects, right? You would have to bribe those kind of people to risk their super upvotes, right, on a project and risk being kicked off the platform. It's just, these incentives are very, very misaligned, basically. It's very unlikely that someone will be there locking up tokens to get into projects to then be bribed to get shitty projects through. So it's, these incentives are aligned in a way that it just makes it very, very hard.
Yeah, I like the fact that everyone has skin in the game. I did have one question there on Curator, though. I wanted to downvote a couple of those articles and maybe even some of the comments, but there's only the upvote. Is there a reason there's not a downvote?
Yes. So actually, it's there's a lot. I think we should talk about Curator tomorrow, right? On
Okay,
the
yeah.
text.
No, we'll cover that tomorrow.
I'll keep it very short because this problem is very, very complex and very far-reaching. But in summary, we do try to do what we can to make it a very positive experience environment. Because as soon as you go to social media, it can get very rough very quickly. So we're about to launch an upgraded flagging feature. So it's more, if you don't like a review, if there's a real problem with it, you should flag it, and eventually it can be taken down, versus kind of downvoting and starting to really kind of, argue with and fighting with people. That's the general idea, but we'll definitely have to talk about this in much more detail.
Yes, definitely. And back in the day, this is the Byzantine general's problem that Satoshi solved by proof of work, right? You've got more skin in the game, so you got more to risk than to gain by screwing over the system. That's the whole point of this. Is like, exactly. It's easier to make a nickel than to risk $100, right? Exactly. It's like, I'm just going to go towards the nickel because it's so off. It's so unbalanced. The risk reward.
That's exactly. Decentralized systems can always be broken if you have unlimited resources and unlimited amount of money. That you want to make it so expensive for that to happen that no one does it anymore, right?
Right. And Fast Abdul, he was just saying, let's talk bribes, which is something that I hear crypto sloths say all the time. Let's talk bribes. Where, this is like literally a system to avoid those people taking bribes. Duke of Booze is here. Cheers, everyone. Cheers. And then Vibra Finances is here in the chat. If you want, if you can, usually he's got 100 things going on, but he could definitely join the chat because he's one of those people that spends 26 hours a day looking into all sorts of tokens and chains and projects for investors. So he's definitely what you'd call a bird dog. So yeah, let me know. I'll send him a link if he has time to jump on, but if not, that's okay too. Continue on. So we looked at the Curator site there, right? And then the incubator and the launch pad is all about bringing projects, mentors, and protection together in one, right? So you want to attract the good projects. You want to have mentors help that have already, because I mean, there's nowhere online that teaches you how to launch or found a crypto. And so at best, if you're really lucky, you've got a friend or two that's launched one and they can help you learn about some of the pitfalls, but having mentors that have gone through the process there is incredibly useful too. Can you talk about that?
So basically those are different roles. So we have, the first role is of course the project, right? And the better the projects that come through the whole network, the more everybody benefits. So it's a very important role, right? And the way it works is anyone can basically sign up, and they can be a very early stage project, almost at the idea phase, right? Or they can be very well developed already. But once they apply, they can offer a bunch of their tokens, and it's up to them how much they want to offer. And they can offer cash bounties at various different places as well to encourage all the rest of the network to participate, right? So that is the first role. Then once they come in, the next thing is the analysts, right? And they come in, the better their reviews are, the more they get super upvoted and all of these things, the more of the tokens and the more of the cash bounties they get. So it's how you call it? It's a performance-based kind of system, right? And here to your question, I think this is a very big thing, and we've seen that in the past now, that projects don't get any feedback anywhere ever. They go and they apply to hundreds of VCs to get funding, and they never get any feedback. Here it's different. So you come in the beginning, it's more of a reviewing and filtering. So a project might get 1 or 2 reviews, and the person might be saying, I don't understand what this is about, or, the website doesn't work, or something very basic like that. And then the project gets rejected. But at least that is one starting point. It gets some feedback. Oh, my website is bad, or something is bad, right? They can iterate on that. They can come back. if they want, they can put a little cash bounty, let's say, $200 or something like that for an AMA, and then some analysts might show up and have an AMA with them, give them some feedback, and then they can improve. That's this early phase. But once they achieve the 3.5-star rating in this early review section, then they go into the in-depth section. And that's where we've seen in the past where really a lot of magic happens. So you have the scams that we want to weed out, right? But then there's a lot of projects that aren't scams, that are very genuine, and they actually have cool products, but they are missing, as you say, they've never done this, they've never done that. They miss some very core components. They're very bad tokenomics sometimes. They might miss a marketing person, stuff like that. So in this in-depth section, that's where the mentorship and incubation can happen. We haven't announced this fully yet, but we also want to have a job marketplace, because we've seen many projects actually end up hiring, or some of the analysts become team members of the project, right? So the team forms, the idea improves, the tokenomics improve. So that's where all of this happens. And I think that's just much easier for projects to end up being complete and much stronger projects than most of the other launch pads and fundraising systems there are. So that's the analysts, that's the project's roles. And the last thing I've already talked quite a bit about, the investors and donors. They have a much more detached role to all of this. They are there, they read all of the stuff, they find the projects that they want to get involved in. The only thing they do is they give these super upvotes to kind of keep the analysts in check. And when they do that, they also leave comments. So they might still say, I have a good idea here or there for a project. They can leave a little bit of comments like that. And then the last role is the NFT holders, who is really completely detached. They just step in whenever there's a problem.
Awesome. And let's talk about, before we get to that, there's a couple of people in chat that they're really big fans of PNOW's anatomy here. So he's got two very strong endorsements. I want to point that out. And then
shout out to the community.
EX has hit 1 cent. It's happening. He says, and yeah, I checked out Pulse's pumped back up to I think 3014 right now. So it's kind of like testing that ceiling again. And then Spike's in the house. What's up, Pulse Chain and Hex peeps? What's up? Good to see you. So this is what everyone comes to crypto, is to get rich. What's in it for me? What's in it for, if someone's watching this, they're like, what can I get? Like, where can I participate, and what can I get for my participation in this, in the Forge and on Curator?
Yeah. Well, there's all these roles that we just went through. I think the most interesting one is to be able to, I want to use the word invest, because it is possible to invest in projects that have security tokens, and that's a big thing that is coming up, right? So people can invest in projects and make better returns. And I believe if with a better fundraising and mentorship program, that we can actually have projects that start performing a lot better on average than they have before, right? One of the things that is super exciting for me, and by the way, you guys saw that the platform is basically ready. We're very, very close to just launching the Forge and getting the first projects through. And I personally already have several projects from friends of mine, entrepreneurs that are just waiting to get started. And sometimes they're very different projects. There's a lot of tokenized real estate coming up and things like that. So I think people will be able to make a lot more money, because a much wider variety of projects will come in. Through the mentorship programs, they can have a much bigger chance of success, right? So being able to invest in such projects and getting returns, I think is probably the biggest thing that most people want. This also extends, I think, to sacrifices to some extent, and also to charitable fundraisers to some extent, is that you want to do all of this with projects that end up succeeding. That's, I think, the biggest interest for everyone. maybe a bit more here on the mechanics. As I said, that part is much more like a traditional launchpad. So you'll need tokens and lock them up. And the more tokens you lock up, the bigger your allocations in these projects. Do you have any questions about that, or is that pretty clear?
Well, I mean, I guess there's certain rules. So if I come as just someone who's looking for information, the value that I'm going to get is hopefully well curated, well thought out, and well analyzed information. So as an investor or someone that maybe has an hour a week to put into research, could be a one-stop hub, or as I like to say, that the Rotten Tomatoes of crypto, right? If you're going to go to the movies, the first thing you do is pull out your Rotten Tomatoes app, and you got the audience score, you got the critic score. Sometimes the critics are way off, right? Sometimes they love a movie that's garbage, but you don't want to spend your, $20 and 2 hours of your life at the wrong movie. So you're going for like the highest rating. And so it's the same thing when you're investing.
Well, I feel like here in this case, the value comes in different like tranches. There's, depending on how much you want to contribute or what role you want to take, there's different value propositions for you. So as an analyst on the curator platform, you're just going to be spending your time and spreading your knowledge. That's valuable to some people. It has an economic value in a lot of cases, but you can go ahead and put your thoughts and your time and energy in that way, become an analyst. That's how you could support it. If you wanted to have a more involved role, you could become a part of the council or hold these NFTs and use your knowledge to contribute to the platform and the projects and really kind of vet things more and get a more involved role. If you want a more passive role, you could just become an investor, a token holder, where you're just going to kind of bet on the network and provide support and just earn that way. So it's really like on the user individually, how do they want to contribute? What kind of value do they have to provide? What kind of time or money or whatever do they want to spend? So it's just like with anything, but this has very distinct different roles. And so you could take whatever you want here. It's just dependent on the individual person,
Mm-hmm. And are the analysts rewarded with NFTs or tokens?
With tokens from the projects that come through. So they're, as I said, so the projects, when they come, they will offer a percentage of their tokens, right? I mean, they can technically say, I'm going to give 0 tokens, but that will make it a bit hard to get analysts to review them, right? They can also put up cash bounties, from hundreds of dollars to thousands. It depends on the project, how fast they want to attract people to review them, and so forth.
Also talk about how Cure a token is involved too for the analysts and how they earn that as well.
Yeah, so I don't think we will actually give out Cure tokens as reward for the Forge. Currently, people can earn Cure tokens for regular reviews, and we may still do that, but that part we actually still have to figure out. But the main incentive for analysts is that they get a share of the tokens that come through the platform. And the interesting thing here is they don't just get, let's say you have project A and B that come in and they both offer their tokens. And now an analyst reviews project B. That doesn't mean they get only tokens from project B. They will get a share of all the tokens from all the projects that come through the platform. Because if it was in a way where they would get only the tokens from the project they review, they would be heavily incentivized to give a good review, right? So that would be a problem. But they will get a share of all the tokens based on how much the investors upvote their reviews, right? So the investors, they want high quality reviews that give them good information, right? So they are going to reward reviews that do that with their super upvotes. And if someone comes and says, this project, actually there's lots of good reviews, but I think there's lots of very important red flags, and he explains that in his review, and then the investors come in and say, oh, wow, you're right. You basically saved us from this, and I'm going to upvote you. So that 1-star review, boom, 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 goes to the top. This person now will get the biggest share from all the tokens that come through the platform.
So the analysts are competing for a higher rating, and that's how they get the token allocation, not based on who they review or what they say about which token.
Exactly, yes. They need to have reviews that get upvoted, and which gives them, yes, an analyst rating, basically.
Cool. And then if I have a project, the things that I'm going to get out of this bringing my project to the Forge is I'm going to get more feedback and more eyeballs looking at my project and helping giving me, just information on how to fix things or what I may want to change about the tokenomics or governance of the token.
Exactly.
Yeah, not only are you getting feedback and help about building your project, you're also doing marketing. You're
Right.
also getting eyes on your project. So it's a 2-for-1. This is really the biggest kind of needs for project when they're starting out is get competent feedback on what they're doing and then get eyes on it. So it's accomplishing 2 of the primary goals as a founder or startup for a new project.
Yeah. Well, and then not only that, but they have a platform that they can fundraise on for their expenses of launching the token, correct?
Yes, and I think when once we have some track history with the Forge, I think it should get to the point where it's pretty clear that if you go through this and you're a 5-star project and you have certain profit calculations and stuff, your funding should be almost guaranteed, right? Because you have been vetted. It's what we want to combat is, I think in the current industry, not just in crypto, almost the entire economy, right? In the startup industry, projects will get funded because they're good at hyping, because they have good networks, right? Often not because they have a good technology or a good fundamental or something like that. If you have, a tech nerd who's building his awesome little machine, but he's not very good at mingling with people and being, a politician to get money, they will not get funded. So you end up with a whole economy where stuff gets funded because it can hype, because it can create smoke screens and sound like it's something good. And the stuff that is really good doesn't get funded because it stays in the shadows. So we want to change that with this platform where even someone who's not good at hyping or doesn't have any big connections can come in here, and the analysts can recognize the quality of the product and the technology. And because of that, it will get a high rating, and then almost guaranteed it will get funded because that's what people are looking for. And I think we can change this kind of funding paradigm where it can get to the point where the only thing that projects have to do, they don't have to look for funding, spend time on that. They don't have to hype. They don't have to spend time on marketing during the fundraising part. They just have to build their product, a good technology, and they have to be extremely transparent about everything that happens, right? Because if you're fully transparent, you document everything well, you have a great technology, a great plan, a great team, the analysts will understand that, give you a great rating, and therefore you'll get funding. And I think that actually then even extends to after when the project is launched. Also on Curator now, we start to have a lot of progress reviews from analysts who just follow projects. And every few months, they're like, oh, this and this has happened. There's a lot of progress. And we saw that actually these reviews end up being more valuable than the regular reviews, because how well a project progresses is much more correlated to their success, right? So if a project is very transparent about their technology and their team and their plans, they get funded because of that. And if they then continue to have a lot of progress and be super transparent about what they do, they basically just report to the analyst, hey, this is what's happening, that gives them good reviews. And then that continues to give them funding and support and everything from the community. I think that will be the massive value that projects get and the community gets. I mean, there's just so much waste with projects having to run around for funding with VCs and all of that. So little time actually goes into building products, and so much time goes into running around for funding and getting people on board. And that's what we want.
Guys, like, this pulse chain community is so insane too, that if we could just get some good projects behind this, like, people don't understand what is going to happen here. We got an entire community FOMOing into unbacked stable coins. Like, what is the possibility of a good project that comes through vetted, that has everything that you want tokenomics wise, that's not a rug pull, that's not giving up everything to insiders? Like, our community is going to love this, and especially if we can get reputable people through here. And Marc has connections with people, and one big underestimated thing here is that the pulse chain community is kind of Western structured. It's really a US based and Australia largely, a little bit of European. But Mark has a big reach here in the Eastern side of the world, in the Asian market. And that is something huge. That's the biggest users of crypto. So he could help us onboard that market as well. And when people start to see how crazy this community is, and you bring something good through here, and then Mark's talking about it getting a 5-star, like it could get to the point where you don't even have to get 5 stars and you're getting instantly funded because of how crazy this community is. We're like one of the marvels of the history of crypto. So we all of these sacrifice projects that people gave way too much money for all of this. Now we have a way to vet this to secure our investors and secure our community from overspending or over giving money, and we could vet everything and be a part of it. And there's financials incentives along the way, and there's not one guy that just can rug it. It's decentralized. What else can you ask for? I love it, man. This is why I'm trying to get people involved. I'm trying to reach out to all the pulse chain influencers. Tell your friends. I've reached out to them all. I'm in their public chats. Trying to get these people, like, let's get them on, man.
Really well. Yeah. It's fantastic.
That's what we need.
But what you mentioned is imagine every project that made a sacrifice, right, actually would turn out being profitable, having a business, making revenues, and that gets, goes back into the token. And everybody who's sacrificing or is investing actually starts making a profit, right? How would that dynamic change, right?
How about we just see like half the money at least? How about we see any of the money? How about we see 10, 20% of the money? Where's the money, man? That's what we want. Use the money for the actual community. Put it back into the project. Support the ecosystem.
And when it comes to funding projects in the escrow account, what coins will be used as that? Is that any coin that they choose? Because, I mean, obviously, if I'm launching on Ethereum, then I want to be looking at trying to accumulate Ethereum and Ethereum coins or stables for my project and for liquidity providing or whatever else is going on. Are they using any token available that they can accept and use, or do they use the Cure token?
No, not the Cure token, of course. The project when they fundraise, they just like with the sacrifice today, they can pick which. I don't know yet if all tokens can be supported by the smart contracts. I mean, this is mostly going to be a lot of security considerations, right? But no, of course, people, just like with the sacrifice, they will choose which currencies are accepted, and then the people will send it there directly. You don't even have to be an investor on the platform that locks tokens. The way we structure it is that the smart contracts will be connected to the due diligence engine, right? And those people who have locked up tokens, they will have their wallet registered in the smart contract, and they will get a certain allocation for better multipliers and things like that, right? So technically, a person who stands completely outside of all of this, right, can also send money to that smart contract and then get their tokens in return. But they will get a much worse rate, basically.
From all the information that I saw about this and that we talked, and I'm thinking now it would definitely be better to prefer stable coins and fiat payments or something like that, because if you think about it, when these projects are going to get funding in a particular token, let's say that they wanted to accept Hex, if they're going to take that Hex, unless they're just going to completely provide liquidity with all of it, they're going to sell that Hex at some point. So what you would rather have is not the token. Now, it's, maybe Pulse or ETH or something, the native chain token would be good to have, but stable coins would be the preferred thing, and that would be the easiest for everyone for accounting and for the community to then take that value and put it back into the project rather than encouraging them to accept tokens that are most likely just going to be dumped. Because when a community says that they need a token allocation for marketing, that's keywords for we need to dump this percentage to get value to then put into something else. So I think it would be encouraged to focus more on stable coins or native gas tokens, in my opinion.
I totally agree that, yeah, I wouldn't want to give someone a token that I thought they were going to dump, that I wanted to pump, right? And let's get back to Mark a little bit, because we're going to spoon into the NFT giveaway here in a little bit. But before that, I want to talk about your background and some of your things you've accomplished that are going to help with figuring out what to do with the Forge and Curator going forward. And then I also want to talk about the site, the traffic, and how we can get as many people to the site as possible.
Okay, yeah, cool. Maybe I quickly just share my screen and show some cool stats.
Yeah.
Show here. So basically, we started developing Curator in mid 2022, and then we kind of bootstrapped that development for a long time. And am I sharing the screen already? You guys see the screen?
There we go.
Oh, there we go. Okay. And then in January 2023, we kind of soft launched the platform. And just going to show here how our traffic. So this is our traffic basically over the last year. We soft launched here in January 2023, and then you see how it's just going up.
Where'd you get the Pulse Chain community in on that graph?
The Pulse Chain community came in, I think, somewhere around here-ish. I have to say that I do think it's mostly our organic search traffic that's coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So this is our another very interesting chart here. So this is our organic search, and this only starts from about May last year and coming up now. And basically what's been happening is we have about 60 verified analysts on the platform. We've written over 4,000 reviews and reviewed over 900 projects. And this is all in our beta still. I mean, we're still about to launch the real public platform, the full platform. And you can see here that in the beginning, our review started kind of ranking for certain search terms and was growing very slowly. And then around August, we saw that we were getting attention from Google. So we optimized the platform for SEO, basically. And since then, it has just been growing at more than 50% per month, basically. And you can see our reviews when you search for Cardano tokenomics, we are number one. If you search for BitTensor tokenomics, we're also in the top 1, 2, and many other searches like that. We're starting to show up. This takes a lot of time for Google to really analyze your platform and know that the content is good. But once it does, it just very steadily grows. So I have a lot of experience with this from my YouTube experience. Sorry, let me just come back here, stop sharing my screen. So this is just, it's just a very interesting thing. You can, with YouTube, it was very similar. We were making videos and you probably know that as well, right? You see these kind of daily views going. And at some point we suddenly saw the algorithm kind of starting to pick it up a little bit, and then it was slowly starting to grow up. And then we learned very crucial things, how important the title is and the watch time. And we tuned some little things. And as soon as we got it right, then it just went off, right? Into these millions of views. So that is going to be a very important part of what we're doing here. That's why we're laying the groundworks for people to write a lot of reviews on the platform and the groundworks for getting all that search traffic. But this is going to be a very important kind of driver of projects coming in, seeing, if I get reviewed here, I don't just get feedback and funding. I eventually can also get a lot of traffic from Google because my reviews will be everywhere, right? We'll get a lot of users that come through that see, I get very good reviews here, and therefore I find great projects here as well. So yeah, that is part of the that's a lot of my personal experience comes from this algorithm, working with algorithms and getting traffic through that organically. we've built all of our curator traffic completely organic without any marketing spent so far. And I think that's going to be a very big thing moving forward as well in getting a lot on board. And I think especially for Pulse Chain, I hear that a lot with a lot of people that I talk in the community, that it is a problem that it's a bit of a bubble, right? That no one else really coming in or no one else going out. And I think this will create a very strong bridge because our traffic comes from everywhere on all projects, right? And especially if we combine that with something like the Forge that create such high quality projects that can be found on the chain here, I think it will build a very strong bridge to the rest of the industry, basically.
Marc is a bubble popper.
That's what I was about to say. Pop the bubble, man. And it looks like the work that you guys have been putting into this is the flywheel, as you can say, is starting to build momentum. And it looks like you guys have already done a lot of work for yourselves where people can see, you know, the momentum that they're joining, right? I appreciate that. The roadmap, I know the R word is not really looked upon fondly with all the people that have had roadmaps in the past and disappeared. So, but let's go over your roadmap for the Forge and
well, it's very short, but yeah, we're holding a sacrifice which we tentatively thinking to start on Friday the 16th, so coming up very soon. I will maybe we're gonna put the official links on the curator website maybe tomorrow, so people can go check it out, and the countdown is there. It's a very limited amount. This is just for people to secure basically the tokens that they can then use to lock up and become, you know, give out these super votes and secure allocations in the project, right? Mm-hmm. And it's also the only way to get those NFTs. So we want to make sure that it's really that the right people that get these NFTs that will be able to control this platform in the future. So that will start most likely on Friday. Once it is complete, we can then launch the beta of the platform in early Q2. So I would say 1 to 2 months. Is as you've seen, the platform is already built, and we've already had it in closed beta. So technically, we only are gonna add a sign up page for projects and a couple of little tweaks here and there, especially to optimize it for the Pulse Chain community as well. But yeah, the platform will be soon, will be live very, very soon, and the first projects can come through. That's if you want to ask about more detailed, longer term roadmaps, but I think these are the very important steps that are coming out, right?
And the total amount raised is capped, so it could be pretty quick. Yeah. You know, it's not a limitless $400 million sacrifice here. This is what was the cap total?
So our target is $555,000, which is what we're looking for, so we can build everything very properly. And our cap is at $1 million.
Okay, awesome. Again, T Bizzle here is asking, super sweet NFTs. Can't wait to find out how we can potentially win them. So like you said, the requirements to be eligible for the NFT are watch this video to the end, which you guys are pretty close there to that, right? And then you said join the Pulse. Is it join the Telegram?
The Telegram, yeah. Maybe I give the link for Telegram. They should also leave a comment in your video, I think. Leave a comment
in the video.
And then go to the curator, join the curator chat, which I'll give you the link now, and ask a question. And then we'll pick the best 2 questions. And in the next stream here on Pulse Ray Vision, we'll announce the winners.
Yeah, let's blow up Pulse Ray's channel.
Are you guys wanted to join the Forge Telegram or the Curator Telegram?
Curator. So we actually only have a Curator Telegram now. We didn't set up a specific one for the Forge. So just come in there, ask any question about the Forge, and the best questions will get the sweet NFTs.
So that's t.me/curator CYA. Yeah, RATOR.com, not .com. So it's t.me/curator.com, correct?
Exactly. Yes.
There we go. There it is on the screen, and I'll try to remember to put it in the notes of this video soon after I'm done. So there you guys go. All set. Pulse ray vision looks very similar to hex ray vision. What happened to hex ray vision? I should probably do a video about this or whatever, but honestly, our community was moving from a layer 2 token, which was hex, to a layer 1 platform, which is Pulse. So I figured, especially as I'm launching my own token, instead of having my name as a layer 2 token, go on to a more broad community, which is the Pulse community, which is what I'm trying to promote now. And then, as you guys said, if we can pop the bubble of the Pulse chain community, then there's so many principles and so much that we've learned from Richard Hart over the last 2 to 4 years, depending on how long you've been here, that could have saved a lot of people from these rug pulls and a lot of people from promise coins, right? And so I like that this is following in the footsteps and principles of actual true, what crypto is good for, which is doing something someone doesn't want you to do, and creating your own currencies and programming money, right? That's the future. So,
and you're still supporting Hex, right?
Yeah, I'm
got nothing bad to say.
I'm staked to the gills in Hex. If you guys are wondering, I'm still very, very. I've got my Hex bags. They're still very, very healthy. So yeah, I'm very, very much into Hex. I just said it. Once we talked about Hex's staking ladders and taught people that, and once we a lot of the community still putting a lot of energy into onboarding, which is important. But other than that, Hex is a finished product. There's not a lot to talk about other than to say it's awesome and it works, and talk about the principles that it, and finished product, audited, no admin keys, community based and community created. That was a big part of Hex, was the community that came up with the T-share, the penalties, the interest rate. That was all done almost on YouTube and on Twitter as almost like a public forum, and that's part of the reason that it came off and it functions so well. I think
the real alpha was in Telegram. That's what Richard and all everybody was talking
about.
Yeah,
and Telegram as well. There's all of that going on. So it's kind of neat to see things grow before your eyes and develop in front of your eyes, and that's powerful. So is there anything else you guys want to cover here in the? We will be announcing the winners tomorrow at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. So we'll be doing tomorrow's Tech Talk is going to be anyone from the Curator or the Forge community is welcome to join that stream. So I'm going to put those links in both of those telegrams, and we'll just go talk about the Curator platform and how it works and what we want to put together going forward.
Spam this link around, guys. Tell the community to come into this tomorrow. Let's get some
I think an open roundtable where we can really go into the weeds of the rating mechanism, what's good with it, what's not good with it, because it's such a complicated thing, right? To make sure that you don't censor people, but that you have factually accurate information, and how do you make sure people don't get bribed and all of these kind of things. It's very complicated, and there's a lot of different ways that we can achieve that. A lot of cool features that we can do or remove. It's actually not just Curator. It's a big, Vitalik talks about this a lot. It's a big content rating. It's a very big topic in crypto, and it's a big dream that you can actually use crypto to and these protocols to verify information, to combat fake news and all these bad things that are happening in regular media. So I think it's going to be very, very interesting and conversation.
Mark's
Yeah.
motivation in this was very much so about censorship because he saw the effects of that. I've really aligned with that. I relate to it a lot. That's one of the big reasons why I kind of chose to leave the Twitter platform and don't really participate on it much, because it, to me, is so heavily censored. And I think this is something that we don't want to do either. We want to allow people to have dissenting opinions on the curator platform, and for people that don't like certain things to be able to state their opinion and not gang up on someone just because they don't like our project and try to ban them off the platform or whatever. But
Yeah.
this motivation with this decentralized network is like why he kind of made it like this, and why we're trying to get this type of thought together, because censorship is such the problem. And that's one of our biggest problems on Pulse Chain as community, is censorship. So this is a big thing, opening those windows, getting different communities to relate, like big problems being solved here.
Yeah, build your own newspaper if people shut you down. Build your own television station
Exactly,
if people
yeah.
listen to you. And community is the strongest part of Hex and Pulse Chain. You know, there's very few other communities out there in crypto that are as grassroots and loyal and committed as the Hexicans and the Pulsicans. So we just need to focus that energy in a positive direction, because when things get slow and crazy, there's the bickering and infighting and drama, and that's just a waste of energy, in my opinion. So let's put all that energy to good use. Also, even though I'm rebranding, I'm going to be giving away some Hex Revision t-shirts and stickers tomorrow to whoever shows up and asks questions in chat. So show up tomorrow, and I'll invite the regular crew as well, and we'll dig into it. So thank you so much for coming on here, Mark. Proof of No Work Dev. Thanks to everyone who watched. Subscribe, like, and comment. Share this somewhere on X, and that'll go a long way for me. I appreciate that. So
Appreciate you, bro. This is a great job. You're the best
Fantastic.
interviewer we deal with, man. Thank you so much.
You bet. I appreciate you guys. So anyways, we'll catch you guys tomorrow. We will end the tech talk with our awkward wave goodbye. So Mark, you might want to practice waving awkwardly in the mirror. I don't know if you've seen that, but that's how we end the tech talk.
I will practice.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll see you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. And that'll be our tech talk, where we'll be digging into all this stuff. So we'll see you there. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
See you, man.
Fantastic. Bye-bye.